acre per year.
I'm Flaten. I'm a professor in the Department of Soil Science at the University of Manitoba, and I'm here at the Top Crop Soil Summit to talk about nitrogen fertilization practices for high-yielding spring wheat. The main reason we visited the issue of wheat fertilization was because we've got such high-yielding wheat varieties now compared to the last time we did this work. If we look at yields of wheat over the last 45 years in Manitoba, they've doubled. And that's because of the genetic yield potential being that much greater and good agronomic practices. So we needed to take a look, how much nitrogen do our modern wheat varieties need with modern production practices? Well, I think probably the most important finding was that when we looked at across all of our sites, we found that there was about 2 pounds of nitrogen per bushel required to reach our optimum economic yield of wheat. That would be 2 pounds of nitrogen, including what was in the soil test in the top 2 feet, plus the amount of nitrogen fertilizer that we added. So if we were aiming for, let's say, 90 bushels of wheat per acre as our optimum economic yield, we need about 180 pounds of N per acre, a combination of the nitrogen in the soil test, which might be 40, and the additional fertilizer nitrogen which was applied, which could be 140. That total came out to 180 pounds of N for like a 90 bushel the acre crop. I think there's a few tips that can be useful for farmers and agronomists. One is that 2 pound of N per bushel kind of thumb rule, but also we found that we could, in southern Manitoba at least, add the nitrogen as late as flag leaf in the middle of the growing season and still get very good yield and protein responses, which means that if growing conditions change for the better and you think you've got more yield potential than what you planned for, you've got another option to add additional nitrogen. You don't have to put the whole bank account worth of nitrogen on at the beginning of the growing season. You can hold back some if you want for that extraordinarily good-looking yield potential type of year and apply that nitrogen in the middle of the growing season, and it still has some pretty good benefits.